The rivalry between the All Blacks and the Springboks has always been about more than physical strength or tactical plans. It is a clash between two proud rugby cultures, two different approaches to the game, and two nations that have spent generations competing at the highest level. Ahead of the latest chapter in rugby's greatest rivalry, All Blacks great Murray Mexted has offered a fascinating insight into what he admires most about South African rugby. While the Springboks are famous for their physicality, powerful set-piece, and aggressive defense, Mexted believes their biggest strength goes deeper than what happens during the 80 minutes. He believes it is their mentality, particularly their ability to focus completely on the confrontation while remaining disciplined and respectful away from the field. Speaking on the DSPN podcast with Martin Devlin, Mexted explained that South African rugby players are highly focused when they take the field. He believes they understand what matters most during a test match and are prepared to embrace the confrontation that comes with elite rugby. According to Mexted, that mentality is not limited to the Springboks. He believes it can be seen throughout South African rugby, including among players competing at provincial level. In his view, there is a common hard-minded attitude toward the game, with players prepared to compete intensely while still being capable of showing respect once the match is over. That contrast is one of the things Mexted says he admires about South African rugby. The players can be extremely competitive during the match, but they understand that the confrontation should remain on the field. There are always exceptions, as he acknowledged, but he believes the broader culture has created a distinctive mentality. That mentality will be tested when the Springboks meet the All Blacks in rugby's greatest rivalry. South Africa have built their reputation around a combination of physicality, discipline, and defensive pressure. Under Rassie Erasmus, however, the Springboks have continued to evolve. Their traditional strengths remain important, particularly their set-piece, kicking game, and defense, but they have also become more dangerous with ball in hand. The modern Springboks are therefore much more than a team that simply relies on power. They can attack from different areas, create opportunities through their backs and forwards, and change their approach depending on the opposition. Yet their defensive identity remains one of the biggest challenges facing the All Blacks. New Zealand, meanwhile, are traditionally associated with attacking rugby, creativity, and individual skill. The All Blacks have often been willing to take risks from deep, move the ball quickly, and trust their dangerous runners to exploit space. That approach produced positive results in the Nations Championship, where New Zealand defeated France, Italy, and Ireland. But facing the Springboks represents a different level of examination. Mexted believes the contrast between the two teams is clear. South Africa prioritize defense, while New Zealand place greater emphasis on attack. Of course, both teams need to perform in every area of the game, but their traditional identities remain different. For the All Blacks, the biggest question will be whether their attacking style can break through the Springboks' defensive pressure. South Africa are capable of using an aggressive defensive system designed to deny time and space. Their defenders can move forward quickly, forcing attacking players to make decisions earlier than they would prefer. Against an attacking team like New Zealand, that pressure could become a major factor. The All Blacks will need patience and accuracy. Their players cannot afford to panic if the Springboks shut down their first few attacking opportunities. Instead, they will need to move the ball intelligently, vary their attack, and wait for the right moments to exploit weaknesses. New Zealand's ability to attack from deep could be one of their biggest weapons. Their dangerous runners can create opportunities when they receive quality ball in space, but they will need support around them. Against South Africa, one isolated attacking player may quickly find himself surrounded by defenders. That is where the tactical battle becomes fascinating. The Springboks will want to control territory and prevent New Zealand from building momentum. Their kicking game can force the All Blacks to retreat and begin attacks from deeper positions. New Zealand will want to turn those situations around by using their skills to create attacking opportunities rather than allowing South Africa to dictate the rhythm. The battle will therefore not simply be attack against defense. Both teams will need to make smart decisions about when to attack, when to kick, and when to apply pressure. Mental strength could be just as important. The Springboks have developed a reputation for remaining composed during difficult periods. Their physical approach is effective because it is generally connected to discipline and structure. They do not simply want to make big tackles or dominate collisions. They want those moments to serve the wider game plan. That is exactly the mentality Mexted was praising. For the All Blacks, the challenge will be to remain true to their attacking identity while dealing with the pressure created by South Africa. If New Zealand become frustrated and start forcing passes or attacking from poor positions, the Springboks could take advantage. At the same time, South Africa must be careful not to become too focused on stopping New Zealand's attack. The All Blacks have enough skill and creativity to punish even small defensive mistakes. One missed tackle or one poorly positioned defender could create the space needed for New Zealand to break the defensive line. This is why the series represents such an important yardstick for the All Blacks. Their victories over France, Italy, and Ireland demonstrated that they have the ability to compete with strong opposition. But the Springboks provide a completely different challenge. They can test every aspect of a team: its set piece, defense, attack, kicking game, fitness, discipline, and mentality. Mexted believes this series will help identify which All Blacks players truly possess the level required to compete for the #1 ranking and ultimately challenge for the next Rugby World Cup. That makes the rivalry important not only for the result but also for the development of the All Blacks. Players will discover how they respond when the pressure is at its highest. Some may thrive in the physical contest. Others may show that their attacking skills can create opportunities against one of the strongest defensive teams in the world. For the Springboks, the challenge is different. They will want to prove that their defensive structure can still dominate against an All Blacks team determined to play with speed and ambition. South Africa have already shown that they can evolve without abandoning their identity. That may be one of their biggest strengths. The Springboks have added attacking variety while maintaining their traditional focus on defense, territory, and set-piece rugby. Under Rassie Erasmus, they have become increasingly difficult to predict. That means New Zealand cannot prepare for the Springboks simply as a physical team. They must prepare for a side capable of changing the way it plays during a match. The first stages of each test could be especially important. If South Africa establish physical dominance early, they could gain confidence and force New Zealand into a more conservative approach. If the All Blacks begin successfully attacking the Springbok defensive line, they could create doubt and force South Africa to adjust. Every small battle could influence the larger contest. The scrum, line-out, breakdown, kicking exchanges, and defensive collisions will all matter. But so will the decisions made after mistakes. That is where mentality becomes critical. A team will make errors during an 80-minute test. The important question is how quickly it responds. The Springboks have built a reputation for resetting after mistakes and returning their focus to the next phase. The All Blacks will need to demonstrate the same discipline. The rivalry is intense, but Mexted's comments also remind us that rugby can combine fierce competition with genuine respect. Players can give everything they have during a match and still recognize the quality of the opponent afterward. That is one of the reasons the All Black Springboks rivalry remains so special. New Zealand's attacking tradition and South Africa's defensive mentality are different, but both are built around excellence. Both countries expect their players to perform under enormous pressure. Both have rugby cultures that demand commitment. The upcoming 4-test series could therefore become a battle of identities. The Springboks will look to impose their physical and defensive pressure. The All Blacks will look to create space and attack with speed. South Africa will trust their structure. New Zealand will trust their skills. South Africa will try to control the territory. New Zealand will try to control the attacking tempo. But ultimately, neither team can rely entirely on reputation. The Springboks must prove that their defense can contain New Zealand's attacking weapons. The All Blacks must prove that their attack can survive the pressure of the South African defensive system. That is what makes the series such an important test. For Murray Mexted, the admiration for South African rugby comes from its mentality. He sees players who understand confrontation, remain focused during the match and can separate the intensity of competition from life away from the field. Now the All Blacks have the opportunity to challenge that mentality. And the Springboks have the opportunity to test whether New Zealand's attacking philosophy can succeed against one of the toughest defensive teams in world rugby. The result will depend on much more than physical strength or attacking talent. It will come down to discipline, decision-making, patience, and the ability to handle pressure. That is the true beauty of rugby's greatest rivalry. Two different rugby cultures. Two different philosophies. Two teams with enormous ambition. And one question that will be answered on the field: can the All Blacks attack break through the Springboks' defence? As Murray Mexted has made clear, South African rugby deserves admiration for more than its physicality. Its mentality, discipline, and ability to embrace confrontation while maintaining respect make it one of the most distinctive cultures in world rugby. The All Blacks will now have to find a way to overcome it. And if they can, they will have proven something far more important than simply winning a test match. They will have shown that their evolving attacking identity can stand up against the ultimate defensive and physical challenge. That is why this rivalry remains one of the biggest tests in international rugby, and why the next chapter between the All Blacks and Springboks promises to be another fascinating battle of contrasting mentalities.